Karen, are you there?
Yes, and I will guarantee, because this town loves nothing more than politics-themed food and drinks, I will guarantee by tonight some bar in Washington is going to be selling a cosmopolitan bias because it is just too perfect.
It's interesting that Stephen Miller grew up in the mean streets of Santa Monica, California, wearing cufflinks and a nice skinny suit, criticizing the media for their cosmopolitan bias on all
Yeah,
this.
I mean, just when you think things can't get more personal or explosive, they certainly do. I mean, yesterday, this exchange between Stephen Miller and Jim Acosta from CNN certainly got the bulk of attention at the briefing, but it also is notable that the White House is sending out Stephen Miller to push and promote this immigration reform bill that the president has now lent his support to that really is not going anywhere in the Senate. It didn't 6 months ago when it was first introduced, and Democrats are opposed, but you've got a lot of Republicans who are opposed and business groups who say this is not going to fix things and this is not the right approach to protecting jobs for low-skilled Americans. It's a kind of age-old debate about who is taking jobs from whom and who wants low-skilled jobs.
Did anybody ask the White House yesterday? I didn't see the whole thing, but Mar-a-Lago asked for 70 immigrant visas last week, and then the White House does this. Did anybody ask about that connection?
Those questions were brushed off. I mean, that was certainly asked about the contradiction in the president's own use of immigrant labor at his Florida clubs, and other places. The president has defended this in the past, the request for more unskilled workers. Remember, he said last year that during the season, which for Mar-a-Lago, is the winter season, he said it's very, very hard to get employees. He said it's almost impossible. We have to bring people in.
And then quickly on this Russia sanctions bill, he signed it and then criticized it?
Slammed it. I mean, it's remarkable to sign a bill and then call it seriously flawed, and even suggesting that parts of it were unconstitutional because Congress just did it so quickly to get something done. The White House does not like this bill. They've made that very clear in recent weeks. I mean, certainly not tamping down any suggestion that maybe he would have vetoed it, but Congress boxed the president into a corner. If he vetoed it, they would have overridden it because this passed with almost unanimous support in both the House and Senate. And when was the last time anything has passed with unanimous support except let's recess and get out of town? And the optics of that, of Congress taking a tougher stance on Russia while the administration is under this scrutiny for the special counsel's investigation, that is just a political headache they were not willing to take.
Yeah. Stephen Miller has been on the sidelines for a while.
He's back.
They brought him out. Is that a new chief of staff idea? What's the reasoning behind all that?
This is his issue. He has certainly been at the center of the administration's work on immigration policy. He's kind of seen as tied in with all of the America First agenda. I have to say that, while all of the hand-wringing of, oh my gosh, that briefing got out of control and it was so explosive, I would be willing to bet that there is one person in particular in the West Wing who really enjoyed watching that yesterday.
I wonder who that was.
You can take a guess.
I thought he was busy on the phone with the Boy Scouts and the president of Mexico yesterday.
Yeah, the Mexico conversation was actually in Germany. It wasn't a phone call, and the Boy Scout phone call wasn't a phone call, but just people coming up to the president after that speech. That's according to the White House.
Yeah, Karen Travers, last question for you. Mitch McConnell said they were going to keep the Congress or the Senate during the recess in Washington, D.C. Whatever happened with that?
So I think today is when we're going to see where that goes. It would be sticking around next week and the week after. The House is already out. I think we also talked about this, that I think I bet a quarter that was not going to happen. If they were still in the throes of healthcare, it'd be one thing. But right now, there's really nothing so pressing that they would stick around. They're just going to put everything off until September.
One more time, Karen Travers with her cosmopolitan bias live from Washington. Karen, thanks for checking in.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You got it. ABC News correspondent.